Hello, my loves, and welcome back to the podcast. I am feeling pretty festive. I don't know about you. I used to actually kind of dread Christmas. Like it felt like this annoying, it just felt like noise. I'm like, I've got shit to do. It's just noisy. Just stop it. Everyone stop it. Turn off the light, shut up the music. Like I used to be a little bit like Grinch. Like I felt anxious and annoyed during Christmas time. And then something shifted in me a couple of years ago where I was like, what if I gave myself full permission to allow this time to be like a beautiful reset and a coming home to me and a time of reflection and journaling and deeper practice and deeper giving and deeper presence and all of the things. And I realized, wow, this time can actually be really beautiful. And so I'm just bringing awareness to all of the experiences around Christmas time. And, oftentimes I remember the years where I was single, for some reason that felt excruciating to be single around Christmas. I don't know what it is about like the marketing around Christmas, but there was something about that experience that I was like, oh, I'd feel awful. And I just realized like, wow, those moments of me being single at Christmas could have been so beautiful if I decided to really love myself and not make it mean anything during those times. And so this is a little bit of a permission slip and an invitation for you to let this holiday season be whatever the heck you want it to be, right? Allow yourself to not get lost in the busyness and in the hustle and in the pressure, and just let yourself enjoy the magic and enjoy the beauty and enjoy the music and enjoy taking things a little slower. And there's also this feeling at the end of the year, like we got to hustle, we got to grind, we got to hit our numbers. It's like, why? Why? Why do we have to do that? Is it bringing us joy? Is it sparking inspiration? Is it filling our hearts? Is it clearing our mind? Is it helping us connect deeper? If not, then maybe there's another thing we get to focus on during this final stride down into 2023, which, by the way, what the heck? 2022 flew by. I'm kind of just reflecting back on 2022 and just all of the blessings, all of the lessons, all of the moments of just wow and excitement. And then all of the moments of like, wait a sec, is this actually happening to me? I feel like I'm being crapped on, And for me, this year was so much about holding the duality of, the bigness of the mission and what I'm here to do and my creativity and coming home to my soul. And then also the shedding and the letting go of everything in me that's not congruent with where I'm going. And so, yeah, this year's been speedy quick. I'm curious if you feel the same way. Today on the podcast, I have Suzanne Adams, and we're diving into how to work on our energetic systems in order to unlock infinite possibilities. And when we talk about manifestation, oftentimes people relate manifestation to money. And when I really settle into manifestation, it's like, for me, manifestation is the response that the universe is providing me based on my energetic set point and based on the type of healing work I do. And so much of, the work that I'm doing in the world is a somatic healing, of course, right? And I truly believe that we get to create the exact lives that we desire to create, not through hustling, force, push, and going, but through figuring out in our bodies what is not congruent and aligned with the life that we want to live. And from there, life just becomes infinite. It becomes so beautiful. And so this is truly why I built the Life Mastermind, is giving people an opportunity to not only work on the somatic healing side of things, but also scaling with soul, being able to manifest everything that we desire. And so this conversation is a little taste of that. If you've been following along on the Life Mastermind journey and really feeling into if it's for you and you're curious, you can head on over to pausebreathwork.com/mastermind. That's pausebreathwork.com/mastermind, and you can learn all about it. All right, let's dive into the 7 tools to help you raise your energy, harness your power, and manifest a life that will blow your mind with Suzanne Thomas. Here we go. You are listening to The Sam Skelly Show, your top spot for personal and spiritual development. This show is all about busting through illusions that keep us stuck, questioning the narrative on human existence and constantly choosing to live life by design and not default. I have worked with tens of thousands of people across the globe and will be sharing the most effective and profound tools for happiness and fulfillment. I'm stoked you're here. My promise to you is this show will support you in becoming the most embodied, aligned, and fulfilled version of you. All right, let's go. Okay, tell me about the coral on your book. Like, it's given me all the feels.
Isn't it so beautiful? I wanted like a vibrancy in it. And I wanted it to be, I market mostly to women, but men are coming into my world. And I wanted it to be where the men could vibe with it too. And it wasn't super feminine, but it still had that like oomph and vibrancy and feel good color to it.
It's got some oomph. I'm digging the oomph. I love it. So the word quantum is becoming popular. Tell me in your way, what is quantum manifestation?
Quantum to me means instant, time collapsing, infinite possibilities. And, I believe that we're evolving as a species, and truly more and more anything is becoming possible. And most of us don't even understand how to use our most prized possession. And that's our energy and our, I believe, our human superpower. Mm-hmm. And when we can transcend the limitations of what we've been taught and conditioned and programmed and really plug into what we can feel and intuit and connect to, we quantum into a new way of being, into a new way of evolving into like the richness that we're meant to fulfill and see in this lifetime, I believe.
I love that. I love that. Can you share a little bit of your story in letting quantum vibes be your resting position? Because my assumption is it wasn't always that way, and it feels like there was a journey there. So can you walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. So I had a massive awakening in 2013. And it was kind of one of those things where it was just a series of events where nothing was working out the way that I desired it to be. And, what's interesting with my story is I was in Sedona, Arizona in 2011 on a girls' spa trip. I kind of make a joke and say that like spirit got to me through luxury spas.
That's amazing. Like, more of that, please. Thanks.
So I was
all for that.
Me too, right? I was in Sedona, Arizona in 2011, well before I was awake and aware and well before I knew quantum anything. And a friend of mine had suggested that I go see this shamanic astrologer. And I was the type, I loved adventure. I loved like anything that sounded exciting and, when in Rome kind of
totally.
Thing. So I was like, yes. Sounds great. And I was doing, I joked with my friend because we had this like agenda. We were doing the tarot cards. I didn't even know what tarot cards were. I was doing tarot cards, Ayurvedic things. I was trying all the spa stuff. We were hiking the Red Rocks, going to energy vortexes, had the shamanic astrologer. I was like, when are we going to eat lunch? And just kind of joking. And again, still very unaware, even in the midst of all of this, still very unaware of the conversation around consciousness and quantum vibes and all the things that I live and breathe and teach now. And in this shamanic astrology reading, this man kind of spoke a prophecy into my life, if you will. He said to me, well, first of all, he started telling me these things that like, I was like, how does he know this about me? And he just it's like he could feel who I was and where I'd been just by looking at my birth chart. And he said to me, Samantha, he said, you are going to be an international world-renowned spiritual teacher. And I literally spit my green juice like on the table. It's like, this man has no idea who he's talking to. This is crazy. And the reason I wanted to tell this piece of the story is because I feel like that our words are powerful and our experiences are powerful. And there's always seeds being planted on every evolution of our journey. And for me, this was something that was so potent because I felt a calling. I followed my soul on an adventure to a really spiritual healing place of Sedona. In fact, I host retreats in Sedona and have since 2015. And I just believe it's super amazing. And these words that were spoken to me in that moment, they seemed laughable, but there was a level of resonance to them. And fast forward to 2013, when I'm having my dark night of the soul, and I'm not even sure if I want to breathe, and I'm not sure why anything in my life isn't working, and I don't want to feel. I don't want to feel all the stuff that I've been numbing. I'm doing anything I can to escape it. I decide to start having a glass of wine every day at 5 o'clock because it helped me take the edge off, and it felt quasi normal because everyone has a drink at 5 o'clock to take the edge off. At least in that version of me, that's what I thought, right? And so I was having this glass of wine or two or three at 5 o'clock every single day, just not to feel. And instead of not feeling it, it's like my energy was getting denser and denser, and I was feeling worse and worse and worse. And after a few months of this, I was in this moment where I was sitting at the sofa, because every single day I literally would, it was like my ritual to sit down at 4:50 and just like have the 10-minute countdown to the glass of wine. It's kind of like, that's what got me through the day. That's like how bad of a place I was in. And I'm staring at the clock, 4:59, 4:59, 4:59, 4:59, 4:59, 4:59. And I believe that there was divine intervention in my life on this day, because it was a 10-minute 4:59. And it was long enough for me to start to feel something different. It was long enough for something to be rattled inside of me, where I started to hear this voice telling me, like, girl, you are meant for so much more. What are you doing? And it was like I could hear my inner guidance system, and I could hear my soul for the first time since I could remember. And I fell to my knees, and tears came streaming down my face. And I looked up and said a prayer and said, I'm willing to do this different, but I can't do this alone. And in that instant, it was like what I call a quantum moment. And I write about that in my book, Quantum Vibes, is a quantum moment. It's where it's like that line in the sand moment where everything changed. You can't go back. And I went to the kitchen and put the wine in the trash. And, I like to say, I didn't have an addiction. It wasn't an alcohol addiction for me. I do actually still drink cocktails and wine on occasion. It was a numbing. And we numb through Netflix. We numb through scrolling endlessly on social media. We numb through alcohol, through drugs, through shopping addictions, through gossiping, through being busy. And there's so many of us that are numbing in all of these ways because we don't want to feel, but our soul is in there, and our soul is calling, and we have quantum vibes and dreams ready on the other side of it.
Ooh, there is so much in that I want to thread out and talk about. I love it. I love how you're sharing from this deep place of potency and embodiment. Like, I can feel it in your body. It's like, yes, yes, yes. So I love the moment in Sedona when you spit out the green juice and the dude told you that. And it's like, that doesn't even make any sense. But then you see how time moves on and you're like, holy crap. I remember when I was in Bali, and it was the first time I did breath work. This was 14 years ago. And I just looked at the dude and I was like, why does the whole world not know we can do this? And he looked at me, very similar moment to your story. And he was like, well, maybe you're the one to tell them. And I was like, okay. And that was interesting, because no one was talking about breathwork back then. That was 14 years ago. It's only now becoming popular. But to your point, it's like, the world is constantly giving us these moments where it's like everything is perfectly lining up energetically. And if we take the time to disconnect from the matrix and actually pay attention and go, whoa, and really follow what is here for us, it's a freaking miraculous masterpiece.
It is amazing. And, so that day when I had that quantum moment and I got up, and instead of drinking the wine, I started looking for podcasts, and I started looking for books, and I started calling energy healers that I had met at these luxury spas. Yeah. And, I got on this path, and it was like, I was brought back into that room in 2011 with that man. And I was like, I think there was something to what he was telling me. And, it started activating me. And I believe that we're all guided, and there's so many signs and synchronicities every single day. It's just most of us, our channels aren't open enough to hear them, or we don't have the courage to follow them.
Thank God for your adventurous soul hanging out with that man in 2020, 2011 or whatever.
2011. Yeah. So fun. I know.
So since that time, who has been some of your teachers and people who've inspired you in order to really expand into this next level of consciousness?
Yeah. Early on, Wayne Dyer, I loved his work.
Love Wayne.
Yes, Joe Dispenza is someone that I've discovered actually recently, which is interesting because when I'm writing Quantum Vibes, it's very similar to the work that he teaches, and I was already into the book by the time I really delved into his work, and it was so cool and validating just to see the similarities. And I love him. Early on, I feel like it was a lot of the Hay House speakers, people that in the beginning, it was helpful to me that maybe, we our resonance changes with different people. Lisa Nichols was someone that
Oh,
that
I love
inspired
her.
me. Yes.
I love her.
Yes. Tony
Yeah.
Robbins, of course.
Mhm.
And then also, just seeing the movement of people coming into their power
Yeah.
and being unafraid and unapologetic. I feel like every single one of us that's doing that, we're building this powerful collective energetic container that's helping more and more people to shift in a fun and magical way.
Fun, magical, and quickly.
Yes.
I'm seeing it happen. It's like the speed in which people are waking up is just quicker and quicker and quicker. Like people are just getting it. And what's beautiful about energy work and working with energetics and quantum energy is there isn't, because it's void of time and space, obviously, there isn't this like, oh, let me go to therapy for so long and like maybe one day figure out why I'm, you know what I mean? It's like there is this beautiful immediacy to it. It's like we can energetically shift something in our nervous system, shift something in our body, like release a part that was stuck in an old timeline and literally see the results of it happening the next day. It even in this conversation, I just got to share this because it's present. This morning, I woke up and I was looking at my calendar for November, and I was like clicking through the weeks, and I'm like, I have like a whole week off in November, and I didn't realize that I took it off, like because I booked my vacations far in advance, and then whatever, I just forgot, right. And I was like, I want to go to Sedona on a retreat. So, and then you're like, oh, there's this. I'm like, that's confirmation. Okay.
There you go. Amazing.
So anyways, it's just like life is always giving us these little nuggets. So with Quantum Vibes, your new book that is out now, what is that visceral shift you intend for people to have after they read it? Like they were here and then they read the book and now they are here. Like what is that transformation?
I love this question. So thank you for this. So for my intention with this book is for people to activate their own superpower, for people to be able to believe and rewire, reprogram their mind that they can plug into infinite possibilities and that there is this beautiful quantum field that anyone can plug into simply by reading this book. And so I want it to activate people in their power. I want it to help people transcend time and space, to collapse time around what it is that you're desiring. And in this book, it's interesting you talked about therapy because I actually talk a lot in this book about how we don't need a spiritual bypass and we don't need to go back and sit in our wounds for hours on end either. And, I said, even this might be controversial, but my belief is that we can quantum through trauma with an awareness and with a certain frequency when we're able to plug into it.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Yes. And so, you teach breath work. So you teach that and I teach the exercises in this book. And so I wanted it to be relatable. I wanted it to be something that spiritual people love. And I also speak in corporations and work with executives and CEOs of like big corporations as well. And I wanted it to be something that the corporate world could come in and adapt to too. So I have my other book, Girl Awaken, which is like a little more woo, a little more woo. Not that Quantum Vibes doesn't have the woo in it, but I wanted to create a book that could be a mainstream conversation and activate people on a conscious and subconscious level in a way that was like bite-sized, digestible pieces that is not going to overwhelm people.
This is so good. This is so good. And, I often teach my students of like taking little sips, because oftentimes the concepts in things like quantum manifestation and all of that kind of stuff, it like hits against the ego of like, but it's not like that, right? Like the fact like, oh, we can manifest like that. The mind is like, wait a second, there's time and space and there's work and there's effort and there's this linear thing. So it bumps up against what we know to be quote unquote true about how the world quote unquote works. And so, taking small sips and like really feeling into like, okay, if I was just to settle into this vibration and just see what happens, let's just see what happens, and then the more evidence that we have, the more confidence that we build.
Yeah. And to piggyback on that is moving in your life based on your wisdom, letting your guiding light be the wisdom in your heart, not the logic in your mind. I always say the wisdom in your heart is far more powerful than the logic in your mind, and because our mind will talk us out of it every single time. And the mind is the one looking at where is it? And when you're in that energy, you're not plugged into the desire. And so that is kind of a magical bullet and golden nugget of quantum manifestation is letting go of the timeline and just falling into the wisdom in your heart. And like you said, just feeling into that vibration and being it, and letting yourself be surprised and delighted by what shows up without having to think of all the things.
So that's where people get stuck in my experience, like the holding the duality of I desire it and it's not here yet. So can you speak to that moment in time? How do you cultivate the confidence, the trust, whatever it is in that moment to keep holding the vibe even when the reality hasn't caught up yet?
Yes. So there is a whole chapter on this in the book. And so I wanted to say that, and I'm going to answer it now too. So really, this is where you've got to understand the power of your energy. And if you think of like your energy as like a plug that you plug into a socket. And if you think about it as like anyone can do this visualization. If you just like, I'll do it right now and you do it, we'll invite the listeners to do it as well. You just close your eyes for a second and visualize your energy as a plug, and just look at all the different sockets that your energy is plugged into. And then in your mind's eye, like above your head in the heavens, notice something that just represents the desire that you're wanting to manifest. And then just with your awareness and with compassion and no judgment, gently unplug your energy from everything else. And then plug it into the desire. And just notice the lightness that you feel as you let go of really moving that energy. And then as you're plugged into that desire, notice this beautiful light from the heavens just streaming into your body and coming in. And notice the power that you feel when you're just plugged in energetically. And then just pulling all of this energy down in your head, down your neck, into your heart, down your body, down your arms, down your legs, and just feeling this energy rooting into the ground. And then taking one big deep breath in, breathing in, letting go. And then when you're ready, blinking your eyes open to the room.
Oh my gosh.
The reason I wanted to start with that is because that example, even my energy was like all over. And
what was it like?
I was like, oh, yay. And that's the first piece is coming into awareness of like, where are you plugging your energy into? And in order to be the energetic match, in order to quantum manifest, we have to hold that state of our energy is into the desire, no matter what, if it feels like it's not happening, no matter what, if you're not seeing the likes, the comments, the engagement on the social media, no matter what, if, the partner's not doing the things, no matter what, if you didn't hit the financial number that you wanted, no matter what, because what happens is we start plugging our energy into all those other sockets, and then we're a match for that. And so we have to know our power. And when we can override the logical mind and understand that the more we can just do that teeny little visualization and plug into the power and plug into the power and plug into the power and be able to sit in that while it's not present, eventually you're not even going to care because you're going to feel so good. You don't even need the thing. And when you're in that is when you hit the quantum manifestation.
I love that. Okay, so let's talk about fun shit. Not everything's been fun, but let's talk about even more fun shit.
Amazing.
What in your life right now are you quantum manifesting? What are you calling in?
Oh gosh. Okay, there's a few things. So a big one that's kind of already really happening is Girl Awaken to become a movie. So
yes.
Yeah, so Girl Awaken is my other book, and this one was inspired by like it's written with the intention to shift consciousness in a fun and magical way. And it's loosely based on my own awakening. I had wild intuitive experiences. And, I believe that, like you said, we're waking up faster and faster and faster. And this needs to become a mainstream conversation. That is a big, big piece of my mission, is to create this content in ways that are digestible so that it can be a mainstream conversation. And people not only get it, but it's integrated in their soul and they feel it. Yes. And so with this book, Girl Awaken, when you read it, there's activations that you'll feel on a subconscious level. It will help you to awaken your soul, no matter where you are on your path or your journey. And when that comes into a movie, that energy will translate into the movie. So recently, I had an investor drop in to make this thing a movie, and we're in the process of it right now. And I'll tell you where my logical mind kicks in is like, I start questioning, like, what happens if this, and what happens if this, and all the things that could go wrong. And I'm training my mind to say, no, 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 honey, this is a big dream that dropped right in your lap. Woo! Like, yeah, woo!
I got goosebumps.
What if it goes right? What if it's easier than anyone says? Like, what if it happens faster? What if all the perfect people are in the perfect place and they feel it? And this is actually like a soul mission. That's not just yours. It's a lot of people's, and everyone falls into place. And like, what if it works? So that's a big thing.
So good. I literally have full goosebumps as you shared that. Like, it's already done. It's already happening. Yes. It's already happening.
So exciting.
You're right. It's like this conversation gets to be mainstream. And I'm so curious what the world's going to be like in the conversations that we're going to be having in 20 years from now. Because even the conversations that the world is having now, like, you wouldn't have guessed it 20 years ago, Oh, there is this like beautiful movement of taking density and putting it into divinity like every single day. And we do that through energy work, through being in our body. Something that you shared of like the what if. It's like one of my mentors, one of the first mentors, or he actually was the first mentor that I ever like officially hired. His name was Shannon Graham. One of the things that he said to me, which I talk about and I really embody in my own life, is like, if you're going to play the what if game, play it from the right side of the fence. Like, yes. Like, what if it works out and it's so amazing? And what if this, and what if this, and what if this? And, it's like removing all other possibilities. Like only, what does Abraham Hicks say? Like, only downstream thoughts. Like, well, yes. What if like that investor comes in and it's the best thing ever and it's so easy and it's so good and they have tons of experience and they know the right people in the right seats. It's like, of course that stuff happens, of course it does.
And in my case, the investor's already here. Like, that dropped in. I would have never thought that this is how it was going to go. I would have thought like I would option the book, the Hollywood people, I'd sell it to someone. That's not the way it happened, which is quantum manifestation. When you're an energetic match and it drops in. And so I'm sharing from a vulnerable space of this is already in the works, already happening. Okay. It is a dream, and my mind will still kick in. And that is where I have to go to my own tools. And I love exactly what you were saying about what if it works. And for me, noticing like, do I want to give all my energy to all the naysayers and all the people that have all these negative things to say? Or do I want to know that I'm the exception and this is the way that things are going to go? And I'm modeling this new way of manifestation where you do use the quantum vibes tools and look what gets to happen.
Exactly. It's so good. It's so good. It's like your life gets to be a representation of your work. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Where are you from?
Georgia.
I love the way you speak.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I was born and raised in Athens, Georgia, at SEC college football town. So go Dogs. Here in Southern California, people don't really know football that well.
Oh my God. I love the vibe. I'm from Vancouver. So like hockey was like massive, massive, massive when I was growing up. And so this whole like vibe of college football is like this whole new world. Like I dated someone who was like really into like, what's that team? Clemson. You kill me for not knowing
the Clemson Tigers.
That's it. And so we used to go to like the bars and like watch them and the tailgating thing. It's such a vibe. It's so cool.
Yes, it is fun. And you know what, speaking of energy, like if you're thinking about being in a college football stadium, I was thinking this the other day, it's like the energy is so potent and everyone is there and everyone's so into it and so present and so focused. And it's like, if we could get that amount of energy and start putting it on some of these things, like, yes, like bringing in the higher frequency in your body, like creating dreams in alignment with your heart and soul, like transmuting a lot of this BS density that we all walk around with, or a lot of the stuff that's coming out on the news. And if we could start to get that energy, and we will, and you said 20 years, I honestly think 5-10 years. I think in 10 years, things are going to be happening that are going to be like our minds can't even comprehend right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of Joe Dispenza, I met with his team right before I hopped on the podcast, and we were talking about like all of the research. Now they're literally proving this with data, with research. Like it's actually happening down here in San Diego. But it's just wild, you know? And so it gets to break through like this skeptic thing of like, oh, that's just woo woo or whatever, you know, people say. And it's like, no, this is actually proven. Like there's data now, there's science now. It's just absolutely extraordinary. I'm curious, and I know this is I know there's a ton of this in the book, but I'm curious if you could share your personal tools and things that you do on a daily basis, or, you know, however you vibe this out, to really plug back into you. And I know that meditation is obviously one of them, which is so powerful, but what are some other tools and things people can use to tap into quantum energy?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the main thing is staying in the conversation of it and staying in the rituals of it, because there's just like, you know, you can plug in from East Coast to West Coast or Georgia to California on your GPS, and there's 8 million ways to get there. It's the same thing with your energy and your frequency, and giving yourself a frequency upgrade. And most people, where they go wrong is they try one thing and they think they're not doing it right, or they give up too soon. And what's been the magic for me, honestly, is consistency. I've meditated every single day since 2014. May 11th, 2014, I've meditated every single day. So it's a non-negotiable for me. And it's not because I'm trying to be some like meditation guru. It's because it gives me my sanity. It helps me to activate my power, and I feel good. And, you know, so that's the main thing. And there's a lot of different meditations. The other thing is the mindset piece of who are you having conversations with, and what are you letting in? So like using my book to movie example, like there are people that are going to sit with me in this and be like, Suzanne, this is so exciting. Let's go through the Hollywood, hot girls right now. And who do we want? Like, who would be a dream to play? Yes. Like, there are people that are going to get in this, like, what would be the dream producer? Who do you think would do costumes? You know, like there are going to people that are going to get in the conversation with me. And they're the people that are going to say, well, you know, Hollywood's full of blah, 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 blah. And things take forever. And, you know, so there's two sides of every conversation. And it's like, are you committing to and surrounding yourself with those people or not? Because that does actually affect your frequency. Really, really getting into the vibration of letting go of expectations this seems so simple, but it's been a big one, because we put all these big expectations on ourselves and what we're desiring. And when they don't happen, or they happen differently, we get a little disappointed. And so instead, can we just look at, I just taught a masterclass on this called Becoming the Energetic Match. And what I talked about was the art of becoming, because we're here, we want to go there, and we miss out on the whole becoming of it. And so what I mean by that, I'll just share a story in my own life is, you know, with another thing I'm quantum manifesting is the man of my dreams. And congratulations to you.
He is on his way to
you. Congratulations to you. I've been looking at your diamond ring, and I just saw that you're recently proposed, and I'm so happy for that. Yes.
You.
And I was telling the story of my own becoming the energetic match for this process. And, you know, what happened is me being able to learn how to dissolve layers in my heart from walls that have been put up from heartbreak, or from not feeling enough, or not feeling worthy enough, and getting into this dance of the becoming, and allowing myself to connect with these amazing men and these amazing souls that have shown up for me, and learning to receive. And I have had some of the most special experiences with my ex-boyfriend, with, you know, men that have shown up for me in the most powerful ways. And it has been so fun to receive and to have these experiences. And I don't share my dating life on social media or publicly. And so this is something most of my audience doesn't really see, is this piece. And I do think it's important to share in conversations, because it's like, I'm on this journey of becoming, and I'm in complete acceptance around that. And I'm so plugged into like this this soul expansion love that my mission becomes better, his mission becomes better. Like we impact people in a more powerful way. It's like we get to inspire people just simply by walking in the room. And I'm so plugged into that energy no matter what. And in being plugged into that energy, I've been manifesting these really amazing experiences with these really epic, high caliber men. Maybe the man in my life at this moment is that man, and that will reveal itself. Maybe he's not. Yeah. Maybe he's a stepping stone. Mm. And either way, it's the relationships that I've been in have served me and have served each of these men in a really powerful way. And the becoming of it can get to be really fun and expansive and juicy if we let it.
I loved the manifestation process up into meeting Eric. Like, it was so fun for me. Like, I literally just played like the what if game and imagination. And like, I lived my life as if it was already done. And I felt as if it was already done. And like, even down to like the little tiny details of like, this is what I desire. And this is who I desire to be when I'm around this person. Like, it's so crazy how it all comes true, and it's all gonna unfold. I'm excited to watch that love story.
Yeah, I know, me too. And the other thing I want to say when it comes to manifestation tools, I think is really, really underrated. I know you're going to be down with this one because you like in-person events and experiences as well. And I think when I'm hosting a retreat, or when you're standing in front of a room with breath work, or when you have that time, we really can collapse time and space in the most powerful ways. And back in 2013, 14, when I was having my, really big awakening, I was in retreats and in-person events more than ever, because something happens when you say yes, something happens when you move in that direction, something happens when you're in a community of like-minded people that are really ready to go to the next level, and you're there with a powerful intention. You up-level your energy, you up-level your mindset, you up-level your friend circles, you up-level your network. And it's so amazing. And so that I've continued to host events and retreats over the years. And it's one of the most powerful things. I get an up-level every single time I host one. I get an up-level every single time I go to one. Mm-hmm. And, that is something that I think is overlooked and underrated when it comes to really becoming an energetic match, quantum manifesting, and really having a lot of fun while you're doing it too.
It's so fun. It's so fun. I was just sharing with a friend earlier today about when I first started my second company, Hungry for Happiness. All I did for a couple of years was just like retreats. I was like, I don't want to do this online thing. And so we just used to do retreats up in Whistler, close to where I'm from and near Vancouver. And you're right, it is the most fun. It's like, and it kind of like reminds me of like, wait a second, this is so primal to who we are. Like back in the day, we used to sit around in circles as women and help each other, support each other, elevate each other. It's like, there is like that primal essence there. It's just so good. Online is great for convenience and scalability and all of that kind of stuff. Like I love it. And there is like, nothing can compare to that. So I love.
And you don't have to choose one or the other, but it doesn't have to be all online, I 100% agree.
So good. All right, my love. Where can our audience get involved in your work, buy your book, get into the quantum vibes? Let us know.
Yes. So Quantum Vibes is on anywhere you can buy a book. Obviously, Amazon, Target, Walmart. It's a Target and Walmart, first of all, which is I was so excited about that.
So cool. I know. When I saw my book at Target, I was like, Mom. What?
Yes. Amazing. Anywhere you can buy the book for Quantum Vibes, for Girl Awakened on Amazon and Audible. Come say hi to me on Instagram. I love connecting with community on Instagram at Suzanne Adams Inc. And then almost everything that I have going on, you can find on Instagram or my website. And I'm just so happy to be here with you and so happy to connect with all the amazing high vibe souls listening. And this has been such a fun conversation.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.